So welcome back to the defining moment. So Martha Ann Bore shares a story. So she's done quite a number of abortions. So this time around, they are twins, and it is a very painful experience for her. So eventually, Martha, you were able to see the twins. What was that like for you? What did you feel? Did you feel you had let down God?
No, God was not in my mind that time. I was just telling sorry to these kids. They didn't deserve that.
Wow.
They didn't deserve that. That was what, they didn't deserve that. And I'm somebody who I love children. And I knew I wanted so many children. So this happens and I go back to bed, and when it was the early morning when this was happening, about 4 or 5, so the sun was coming up, and I remember I saw the sun coming up and I looked at it and I just told God, sorry, Father, sorry, forgive me. I'll not do this again. Yeah, and I left there, went home, and life went on, but something changed again.
Right.
But this guy also, I think something changed him. I think something also happens to men in this story. And we started drifting apart. But this time I felt so unloved and left, because also he moved on with some other girl.
What happens to the mind of a man in such a situation?
I mean,
and was he apologetic?
He was very apologetic. He
Right.
was very apologetic. And he told me, sorry, Martha, we shall have other children again. We shall have other children. And that gives you the sense of you will replace this child.
It's temporary, right?
Yes, it's temporary. I'll have other children.
Right.
But then also him, because he also went to another woman.
Wow.
But this is a time when I decided, I'm going to get pregnant, and I'm going to have my baby.
The baby, yeah.
And that's how I had my daughter, who's 28 years old now.
So with that, still
the same guy.
Same guy.
Yes, I had my daughter. We stayed there. I finished my master's, did my
Right.
postgraduate diploma, and came back.
Just before that.
Yes.
So this time around, you finally get a baby.
I
and you
get a
hold
baby.
How was that? What was that experience like for you?
Wow. Let me tell you. Okay, when you give birth, I think you're injected with, there's so much adrenaline in you.
Right.
I didn't sleep for about 24 hours. I just kept on watching her, looking at her fingers. She was perfect. And I kept on asking God, why did you give me something so perfect? What did I do to deserve something so beautiful? And I remember singing this song, all things bright and beautiful. Those are the first songs I was singing to her. And it gave me some joy. It gave me some purpose. So I decided, let me finish and go back home with my baby.
Okay.
I come back home, this guy had come ahead of me. He's gone on with his life. He's doing all these things. Then we just drifted apart. I get into another relationship, and this time it's at work. I discover I was pregnant again.
Wow.
I tell the guy, he tells me, whatever you decide. And I sat down. I was that time a freelance, but they were going to take me as a permanent.
In a media house, right?
In a media house.
Right.
And I realized that everybody was confirmed except me.
Ooh.
And that time when I was doing when we were doing the medicals, I didn't know, but they knew, the HR got the reports. They knew I was pregnant. So that is why I was not whatever, because I kept on asking my boss, why am I not being confirmed? And I was a top performer
right.
among that group. So I said, if this is what is going to stop me from proceeding forwards, I'm going to get rid of it. So one day I just woke up and told me, Twende. And we went.
Wow, now with the guy, right?
Yeah, and he drove me and he waited for me and took me back home after that.
Did you feel guilty again?
I did not. It's like you're immune.
I mean, it was convenient then.
It was convenient.
Because you needed to hold your job, right?
Yeah, you have an excuse. I said, this baby anyway, I did the x-ray, I can give birth to something disformed and all. I had all these excuses.
Wow.
And then I needed my job, and I was flying. I was a high-flying girl and all that kind of thing. So this happens. Then again, I don't know what happens, because I think I always never believed in the contraceptives, the swallowing ones, because I always say these things must be changing something in us. I might change something in me, and a leg might grow up somewhere, I don't know anyway. But it was condoms, and condoms I couldn't use because I'm allergic. Right. Then I get pregnant again. But this one I decided, my life has to go on. After that, I can go on with my career. And we go on with this fellow. He is a married man. But in this time, I kept on getting convicted. I'm in a wrong relationship. I'd pray that we get married, and God would ask me, between the two of you, his wife, and if you are praying for this man, who would I answer?
Right.
So in that, God started tugging me in, and I end up in church. I never knew about altar calls. I was in church in the first, tell me to do that now, I would not, but I walked into a church and was at the altar.
How did you manage this relationship? I mean, this guy is married, you have a baby with a guy. Were you running away? Did the wife know about it?
No, she didn't.
Wow.
She didn't know about it. She didn't know about it. We were just, it was clandestine, like everything else, hidden. And he's a nice guy. He was nice to me. And but I kept getting convicted that the fact that he's married, because it's the first married, something was not right about this totally.
Right.
This is the first time that I knew something is not right. And at that part of not put asunder, so when God says you do not, okay. So I live, I'm with this guy, we've come from dancing, and one time I just wake up and I'm going to church, walk into church, go to the altar, and all I heard there was, the one you have is not yours.
Were you alone?
I was alone a whole service.
Wow.
Some tell me to do that today. I'm very born again. I love the Lord, but I would not do that again. And I remember when I told the counselor, and she says, do you know where that comes from? And then she tells me to go and read John 15, where the woman at the well was being told that.
Right.
And that's when I said, who is this God who knows me so well? Knows that I have had many other men, because the same story, she told me go and read it. I've had many other men and I was very interested.
Who is this
Curious.
Jesus?
Not God. I didn't know about Jesus.
Right.
Jesus is there, but I didn't know about that. Who is this God?
Right.
Who
knows?
Can
quench, right?
Quench. He knows everything about me. I was very curious, and I started reading about him.
Wow.
And in this curiosity, I came back, and by the way, that day when I got born again, I went back and told him, yetu imeisha. And he looks at me and tells me, are you still high? I told him, no, I'm not high.
So, after how long? I mean, immediately?
That day, I came back.
Wow. So you're actually just from a party? You go to the altar?
Come back and tell him it's over.
He was shocked.
He was in shock. It took him some time to accept. But just watching me in my discovery, I was so excited. I was just consuming anything about God. And he let me.
Wow.
He let me be. Not that he didn't try to get back to me into back our intimate moments. And it was a struggle, actually. I didn't say that ended.
Right.
But it took time. It was a process. Till a place I just told him, no, this is wrong. And he accepted that. So in doing this, I end up, I lost my job, by the way. At that time when I gave my baby, my baby, I lost my job. He decided he was going to look after me. And this time in looking after me, I'm not working. He's paying my rent, doing everything for me. Is when I turned to God. And he tells me, I'll look after you.
Wow.
But when now I get born again, I start wondering, this man, is he going to look after me? Trust God or look after this man. And I was telling the pastor, now, what will I do? And he says, trust God, he'll get you something to do.
Wow.
Cut those soul ties. I didn't know what soul ties were. And because they pull you back.
Right.
And that's what kept on taking me back. So I did. You know that one of, I'm somebody who's a very precarious child. I go, when I want to do something, I do it. So with my own strength. I think most of the things I do strength, and God helps me down the way. So that's how this relationship, we wrapped it up.
Right.
He's a friend of mine till today. We have a son who's 21 right now. And but in the process, I ended up in crisis pregnancy ministry, doing vocational work. I love making jewelry. I love making things with my hands. That's what I was teaching girls. It's a teen pregnancy center. So when I started hearing them talking about what's happening in the counseling, and I was saying that something started telling me, hey, you're sitting with these girls now that I think it was Satan condemning me. You're a sinner.
It never went away.
It never.
The condemnation kept coming.
Then is when he said, you're a sinner. You're a fraud.
Wow.
Why you're sitting here looking at, you're the head, the coordinator of this place, and you're a sinner, and you're talking to these girls who are you to talk to them? And this thing is the beginning of the confusion in my head. Things just fell apart. Pole until I went, I crashed.
Right.
But in that crashing is when, like my boss told me, we will get let go of you unless you go for help. Because I couldn't imagine going to talk about this somewhere, even if it's... They told me, can we do it on one-on-one? They said it's better in a group. That's how I ended up in a place called Pearls and Treasures, where they do post-abortion counseling.
Right.
And in sitting there, I go and meet 20-year-olds who would have done abortions in campus, and here I am, their grandmother. And I was so scared, and I was saying, what will they say about me?
Right.
So she tells me, no, stay here, Martha. There's an audience you're going to talk to. I want you to talk to your age mates who've been through this and have never revealed the secret. And for that, I did. Okay, she tried hard. If trying for, I don't think she would have helped. She tried to get me through that course. Very many people don't go through it. But it's actually a deliverance process.
Right.
And it's through that I said, I've been through this. I know the pain that is here. I need to tell people that there's freedom, there's forgiveness, there's healing here. Restoration and all. And all of a sudden, I wanted to get married again because men had let me down. Men had used me and abused me. That's how I knew.
Right.
And I started asking God for a husband. And I thought it would be pop like every other thing he gives me. Oh, I didn't know he was going to mold me pain. He was going to discipline me. He was going to do so many things to me. That was 17 years down the line.
Wow.
I practiced secondary virginity. And I'll tell the girls, yes. And I'm telling these girls, and they're looking at me and they're telling me, hey, shosho, wacha kutudanganya. I said, I have my money, I have my freedom, my everything to do everything I can, but I don't do it. I come home, I watch TV. What, dear girls, you're going to get in trouble. And in all this, been talking to them, somehow God has been using me. He takes me to spaces where I really don't even know how I reached. I have this gift of going across board generations. I vibrate, resonate with the children, the adults, what.
As well.
So I've been talking about what's happening, the psychological effects that happen. And even right now, I'm finding a womb that has been hurt through abortion. Their children, they're called survivor children. The children who are born out of such wombs always have psychological and emotional issues. I know because my children, for no reason, are just angry. They're just angry. Abortions make you angry with your mother. I was angry with my mother. I forgave at 50.
At 50? And
I just did it because the word says, forgive. I told God, I want to have a long life and I want to have peace, it will be well with me.
Right.
But God takes you the way he wants.
Yeah, you have to forgive.
And I did that. I could never stay with my mom for a day without quarreling with her.
Wow.
So I got that. I started forgiving people because I knew I was forgiven, but it never entered into me. I was
That's
forgiven.
right.
Yeah.
We need to wind up. So today you actually did like a ceremony.
Yes.
You got birth certificates for all.
Yes. The end game of the post-abortion support group is we name our children, give them names, you give them birth, we work out when.
Right.
We forgive the doctors, everybody who's in the process of abortion, the fathers of the children, everything. You get birth certificates, the mock birth certificates that are done. You put the names, and then the last ceremony, actually is a very solemn ceremony. You go and release your children in every. Some read poems, some, So each of my children, I had a rose. And I'd remove it from here, and I said, I'm sorry, my child, but now I leave you to God, and he put it here. And I did that about 7 times for all my children.
So how many? 7 in total?
Yeah, all my children, plus even the ones that had the medical emergencies.
Wow.
I did that.
Wow.
So I remember when I told my daughter tells me, Mommy, I always knew, I read your diaries. Wow. When I was telling her that, I know I'm going to be in the media. I need you to know so you don't get embarrassed.
That's right.
Then recently she just told me, Mama, you mean to say, I had 7 siblings that I never knew. I wouldn't have been so lonely in my life, But I told her they're in heaven with God because that's why I know they are.
That's right.
Yes.
Today you have a beautiful story.
Yeah.
You are actually finally now. You're engaged.
I'm engaged.
And you're getting married, right?
Yes, I'm engaged to a lovely man who watched me on TV.
Right.
I was working in his backyard just like Ruth was working in Boaz's backyard. I kept on telling God, I need my Boaz. And he told me in this, I am going to get my husband. I did not know where, from how.
Imagine.
And this man just happened. And one day he just woke up and told me, I love you. And I was so excited. After 17 years, somebody loving me. Then my friend tells me, hey, go and ask him what does it mean he loves you. You remember, I love you got you trouble long ago.
That's true.
And he tells me, no, when I tell you I love you, I want to marry you.
Didn't he have any issues with?
He doesn't have any issues. He doesn't have any issues. All I know, he tells me, tell them what abortion did to you. It is murder, number one.
Right.
It destroys your self-esteem, your self-worth. It leaves you with guilt and shame. It was only last week that I finally knew that God actually doesn't even remember what I did.
It's gone.
He looks at me and he sees his son on the cross.
In this journey, even sometimes you thought you had healed.
Yes.
Did you feel condemnation?
It comes back.
It does.
Comes back. Even last week, I was down. But then
Right.
I realized through Bible study, being around fellowship, that when that happens, usually they say, when Satan attacks you like that, no, there's something good that is preventing from you.
Wow.
Yes, so it takes me down. It's very disorienting, by the way, when that happens, when you go back and you go back to those places. But I come out faster. Sometimes you dwell there a lot. But these days I go in, sometimes it's just a few minutes and you're out again. You tell him you're a liar and you're out again.
Right.
You see. So it's a process you go, it's something you go through your life, but it's the tools that you're given to come out of it. But majorly, the Bible gives you a way out.
Martha, thank you very much. Your story is powerful.
Amen.
And we pray that you will be of great influence and purpose to the girls you encounter.
No, he
and the
made me
men
to
as
be
well.
a tool in his, he shaped me to be a tool in his hand.
Amen.
To fight for the voiceless, to fight for the unborn. I'm a pro-lifer and I love it.
All right.
Yes.
Speaking to Martha and Bore, a pro-lifer, amazing story. Look at how her pain eventually turned into purpose right here on The Defining Moment. God bless you.